Okay, now we're ready.
We're going to call the meeting to order.
The work session.
Oh, excuse me, yes. We're going to call the work session to order. This is March 12th, 2020. And we do have a quorum, so we'll start now at 6:09. All right. Okay. Do the Pledge of Allegiance. Hey Fred, you want to do it? You want to lead us?
Give it a shot. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
You want me to do the roll call real quick?
Yes, please.
Lebrecht is excused. Ward.
Here.
Walkers.
Here.
Kurtz is not here. Darling is excused. Benoit.
Here.
Chair Cease.
Here.
You have a quorum, Chair.
Thank you. All right, did anybody find any problems or disagreements with the agenda? I mean, with the minutes from last meeting?
We're not in that meeting yet, are we?
Oh, don't we approve those?
In the meeting,
that
we're in
for
the work
consent?
session.
Oh, we're not even in the meeting yet?
No,
We're
just
at
at
a
the
work
work session.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, we're not in the meeting. Okay, let me put this aside. Okay.
And it's primarily this. 31.
And I don't know what we're working on, so I just kind of
So,
follow.
okay.
It'll be
so-
pretty easy.
I got the
this-
meeting agenda, but I mean the work session, I don't know.
Right, okay. So, pretty much what we do, unless we add something special, is we actually go over what's in our agenda so that we have any discussion, so that when we get to the regular meeting, it's easier and more timely for us to actually vote on whatever it is,
Yeah.
okay? All right. So you're wanting us to go to,
Well, I'm ready. to
where
read.
are your forms?
31.
31. Oh, 31, okay. So, all right, 31. No, 30.
No, I put these in a different order, so 31 first.
Okay,
You want me to start?
yes.
Okay, so Fred and Mary Ann, in our packets, since I've been on the commission for the last 6 months, we had this form. It was a meeting schedule. And on here were suggested agenda items. And I started looking at this, and I thought, we need to actually make that a much more of a working document, and I think it would help us keep our priorities and any of the annual business like awards and the award schedules kind of in a more timely fashion. As a new person, you know, all of a sudden I was supposed to give input, and you'll find this, on an award that I had absolutely no idea was coming. So, if you look at page 31 in your packet, what I did was I took the meeting schedule, I took the priorities that have been approved, our priorities that we submitted to City Council for review, and all of the general business kinds of things that we do, and I put them in a form. And I put them in a meeting schedule. So January, and all of this really needs to be looked at, because I just kind of threw stuff in there, and I'm not a long-term member, but I thought this would help us look at our meeting schedule. We have annual business like the Historic Preservations Award, and then we have Priorities 2020. The category was just, I took that off the priorities, and I talked it over with Cheryl, we decided to leave that in. So that's what this first form is, and you'll find every meeting schedule is on it, all of the awards are on it, and all of our priorities are on it. One of the things per Wolf Kurtz's request is I didn't put a lot of stuff in the summer. This will be the first summer we meet all summer, but we didn't really want to start anything new as people are pretty scattered. So as far as the priorities, I just sort of threw them in as it seemed fit. And I sort of figure that this is going to be a 2 or 3 year thing. As we use this form, it will actually become more reflective of what we're actually doing. And then if you look at page 28 and 29 and 30, that is the reporting form. So that would go hand in hand with the meeting schedule. The reporting form has the date, has the priority, has the responsible person, and outcome. So anybody can come to this meeting, look at this report, and know exactly what we're doing at any point in the year. And at the end of the year, Cheryl, or the chair, who has to submit a report to City Council, can take this, however she wants to do it, write a cover letter, and there's our report to City Council. So everything works together. I'm tired of having things in my packet that I don't actually use. I have enough paperwork as it is. So I have brought this to the board for your consideration.
May I make one
Yep.
suggestion? So so for instance, here on page 28, I would do a page break here and another page break here on 29.
Clean up the formatting, basically.
Yes, just those 2 page breaks so that it's 1 page each.
And I think that's perfectly reasonable. This was our first stab at it, and I had Jessica help, but of course,
It looks great.
I'm not very computer literate. I can tell you all about Victorian skirt lifters, but I cannot tell you a dang thing about a computer.
You know, and the other thing with regard to Commissioner Kurt's comments, the thing about our summer, having it light, that's good, is that's going to give us an opportunity to maybe put more time into areas that we might need it. Like the historic overlay,
Right.
as an example.
Right.
You know, or, you know, the history researching for the plaques.
Right.
Or placing the plaques, you know?
And that's what I was hoping. See, I kind of threw this stuff in. I tried to spread it out, but I didn't have any kind of sense of our sequencing because I've not even been on a year. So that's the kind of input that I think if the form is reasonable, we can work on the formatting. Formatting is not the issue.
Yeah.
But the content. So in the meeting, so I had the meeting schedule, annual business, those were the things that I took off this original form that apparently we do on a regular basis. And I know Rockwell Kent celebration is something this is a centennial, so that might not be on for next year because it'll be over.
Right.
But these are things that we tend to do on a yearly basis, come rain or shine, year in, year out. We give this historic preservation award. We declare this historic preservation month. The priorities are what are going to change because we review those and submit that. We review those at the end of the year and we submit those to council for their approval. So I would suggest that most of those would be assigned to commission members in the first part of the year, which is, you know, because then if I'm going to do the historic overlay, which I've been doing, then I would have summer to work on it, or I would have summer for the committee to get together and work on it if we actually had a committee.
Yeah.
So if you want to change any of the priorities over the next, all the way to December 10th, it has to go to council.
It's already been approved, yes, from what I
These have
understand.
been approved, but if you wanted to add one or delete one or make any changes in the priority list, it needs to go to council.
Well, I don't think so, because I asked that before we made the resolution. If we could make changes, and you had spoken to Brenda, who said we
Yeah.
could.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we can.
I got it, thank you.
But the idea was that these went to council early in the year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
Just a thought, just in looking at this, which I'm sure looks great. I don't know, you know, like
No,
the history, but
she took my handwritten one. She
Gotcha.
made it.
just a thought would be to add in each month a little thing about just reviewing our accomplishments so far. How are we doing? so that we know what maybe didn't get done that we need to put into the next month so we don't forget it. And also a place for like, did anything come up that we had totally forgotten about or was unexpected that we do need to add? So that we have,
There's a review
Place to-
process, and maybe the reporting form or something, or even this form, we review it every meeting. That was my concern, is we have these priorities, and then we never looked at them
Right.
until we had to put the next priorities to council. And I wanted to make sure that what we said we were gonna do, we actually did.
and the reason I was thinking about that was if you were gonna do something like trying to meet one of our priorities, which was like a public awareness and education, is like, we could say, what did we do last month to actually make that happen? And what are we going to do in the future? And be able to have some discussions about ongoing things of how we're meeting some of these priorities.
I was gonna ask Jessica, because if you look at our agenda, we have a series of reports on our agenda that are pretty much something we address. I've got
Right
mine
here.
somewhere.
It's right here.
Special orders, presentations, and reports. Could a review of priorities be added to that part of the agenda and then we could add it to this form, just every month review?
So
And-
like a priorities report?
Yeah, priorities report, where we look at the priorities and see what's been done, what's not been done.
Well, the reports are mainly just to report out on the accomplishments of whatever the topic is.
Right.
If it's
And
gonna
that's,
be
and
more
that's,
of a
that's what you were talking
discussion
about, the
though,
accomplishment.
then you're gonna want to add it to new business.
Yeah, that's why I asked you what we needed to do, because the idea is, you're talking about not a review at the end of the year, but a review each meeting of the priorities and what have we missed, what did we not do,
And where are we at?
and where are we at?
So
Before we
can-
get to the end of the year and
can that
find
be a
out we haven't done
standing-
anything.
Section 9 item, new
We
business?
try not to have standing
Yes,
items
I know,
on
but
there.
if we're gonna do that to make, to check,
I would think, personally, my opinion would be maybe quarterly or every 3 months or so, add it on there and see what's going on, or every
Touch base.
2 months, maybe not every month, so it's not standing then, but we still know when it's coming up and
And
we'd
we
still be
could
able
put
to
it
review
into this form so that you're always alerted, it's on the agenda this month.
And we can make sure that that form, when we get it situated, is included as an informational item or informational report at every meeting.
Every
okay?
meeting.
So, how about this, Sue? You know where you have your date, your meeting schedule? Can you like put your line right down here at the end of your word and then move this stuff over and then we can kind of do a quick,
Update?
Yeah.
Instead of category, call it update.
well, you still want these.
Okay.
Just
But
move that.
should
And this-
everything, because there's a lot of wasted space on your
Yeah,
paper.
it is. And we could accomplish or, accommodate Mary Ann's suggestion and have that slipped right in there. Well,
This is going to be an ongoing process till we get a form that works.
That might be great because that'll help you with when you do your annual reporting. It's like,
Absolutely.
all these accomplishments maybe you totally forgot. But one of my reasons for bringing that up too is like, my understanding of how this works is you can't really talk about anything on the agenda unless you've already decided beforehand it's going to be on the agenda, because then the public is aware of all the things we're going to discuss if they have any input.
The public.
So if you don't have that topic on it to discuss each time, then you can't talk about it, right?
Well, except that with our work sessions, it's listed that we also go over the things that are in our agendas. And then if we have an additional topic or one that we had scheduled for that time, then that is listed for the public as well as the main thing, and then it's, hey, Fred.
Can we can talk about stuff as a new business to come on the next agenda. In other words,
I think so.
we can't get into it deep, but we can say next agenda, we'd like for the next meeting to discuss this as new business. And that would carry it for the minutes for the next, it would be on the minutes so that we could talk about it the next meeting.
And just,
Right.
you can just put
But
it to the
then,
work
doesn't
session.
that get in your way?
No, I mean, if the commission decides as a whole that they want to add a topic to the next agenda, then you can do that.
Okay,
As new business on the next agenda.
As long as the public is notified. That's the main thing, is whatever goes on the agenda, there has to be the notification process.
And I have another question because I'm kind of stepping in here.
And we are glad you have.
Hold up that opinion. And a couple, 2.5 years ago, the commission put together a master plan of Seward Historic. Are we still working within those guidelines, or is there a new
No, I mean,
one?
we're working on them. We were able, through Sue and Iris, to get Junos with their permission, and we've been
This
able to
is what you're
use-
talking about?
Okay, yeah, so
Yeah.
it's the same one, okay.
Yeah,
Well-
well, it's not the same one.
Oh.
We're
No.
catering that to ours, and Sue is in the, I'll let Sue talk.
Well, because I'm new, and I got roped in by Iris, which I'm sure you'll
Uh-oh.
appreciate, we are looking at, and it was just kind of an independent project, a historic overlay for the downtown area.
Right, that's
And
been around a while.
well, it has, but I'm new and I didn't know that. So then Iris and I went over to the library and we went through the files. And I, being new and didn't know where to look, because now I find out it's on our website, but I kept looking at documents saying, they kept referencing this plan. And so I got a hold of a copy of it. I called in a favor from Tongi and got a copy. And I said to Iris, I said, this is the forward. This is what I wanted to do as part of the historic overlay. And in this document, which was very convenient, chapter 8 says you will work with planning and zoning and you will develop the historic overlay. There was the mandate, this is already approved by city council. So, Juno, Iris and I called Juno, and we got a copy of their guidelines, and with their blessing, we got an editable copy of their guidelines. And we have developed them for Seward, which I am in the process right now of editing. The city staff has formatted it. We put in some new pictures. I am hoping to meet with the building people, the building code people, and I'm also working with Kenai Mountain Heritage, Turnagain Arm Heritage Bunch, because I want to find granting opportunities for any of the business owners in this historic overlay, because if it's not going to, A, make them money, and if we can't find pools of money to repair roofs, they're not going to be real supportive.
Right.
So that's where we are with this, and this got resurrected. I spent at length talking to Linda Lasota, and she is really pleased.
Yeah, I would be too, if that's still something we put a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
working
Yes,
at
you
over
did.
2 years. working.
And so, you know, this right here is my Bible, and it's getting additional chapters, but I was totally pleased to find this, and being new, I didn't know. But as soon as I found it, it has now been given and flashed around to as many people who want, who ask me. I've done presentations around town, the Rotary and other places about this, and there seems to be a lot of support. So, you know, I was a committee of 3. That would be Tongi, Iris, and me. I'm now a committee of 1. But we'll see how it goes. But that's to update you that this has not been lost. It has
So
been completely
the one I
resurrected.
have is still good if I add the update to it.
Well, I
We've
think
actually not done a formal update yet.
We're
It's in
due.
the works.
All right.
we're due to add
Okay.
we're due.
I have
And the other thing is that Commissioner Ward actually met with, she and Commissioner French,
John.
met with planning and
Zoning.
zoning. And she gave a great presentation, and the feedback was, you don't have enough information for us to,
deal with, so come back. So I took that to heart, and we're meeting with the building code people, Stefan and all those people, and I want their input, because they're the one that, how strong do you want this? How weak do you want this? You guys are gonna enforce it. And then and I've already talked to the Kenai Mountain people. They're real excited. They'll manage the grants for us. It's just connecting the dots. So I've done quite a bit of work as a committee of 1. Not quite as fast as I'd like,
but you're one.
but there we are. But, you know, and so that's where we are with this. And if you notice under back to what we were supposed to be working on, you'll notice that promote historic overlay for downtown. It's
Yep.
it's actually
March
supposed to be
12th.
addressed at this meeting.
Yeah.
But the idea was we have priorities, we have general business things that we need to do for throughout the year, and I wanted that organized, particularly for new people who come on, and you could kind of see what this board does, and then to make the reporting really easy, because I always find if you have to report on your priorities at the end of the year, you're going, what do we do? What priorities? Where are we doing it?
And that's what this is. And this would fit with what you were suggesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not with this part, but
Build in
Yeah.
a more regular review process during the year.
go ahead.
So I just wanted to clarify.
Yes.
After I knew I was becoming a commissioner, I went online on the city, found that report, read it, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing and fascinating. And so what you're
Chapter
saying-
8, go to chapter 8.
What you're saying is that you're actually working on updates.
Yes.
Which haven't been included yet. But there
Correct.
is going to be updates to the
And-
current
and-
document that
Correct.
you're talking about.
Yes.
The updates will probably have to go by council eventually.
Yes, they will.
Now, is the authorization
Well, no,
to council?
first they have to go to P and Z. You
Right,
remember
right.
that nightmare?
Planning zone. Is the authorizations that the council gave for the plan, when it accepted it, are they still in force?
Yes.
Okay. that's all I know.
Well, and,
Yeah.
and so what I'm doing, just to be more specifically, in chapter 8, there were a list of recommendations for future action in this document. I'm actioning 2 of them. Work with plating and zoning, develop a historic overlay. There was like 10. And I don't have them in here because I'm missing that page for some reason out of my copy, so I gotta find it. So there were like 8 recommendations for future action, and I'm working on 2 of them right now.
I know the
Figuring,
rest of
and I figure I have the mandate because it was approved by council.
Are those where our priorities come from, that list of things, action items?
Not necessarily. I don't know where the priorities came from because they were developed before I saw them. But I don't want that to happen again.
Well, they've kind of been pretty much the same for a few
Right.
years because it takes a while to get things done.
Right, but that's okay, but I think if you see in here, there's a place under annual business that says, discuss and revise annual priority list for approval in January. That would be at the December 10th meeting. Now, we can move that to November, but the idea was that we are never caught off guard by something that we needed to have done.
Absolutely. And I do like moving that to November.
Yeah, so
Oh,
what?
wait. Yes, no, I
But
do.
what I would
I do. I want to
suggest-
move that.
So what I would hope for here, that you would take the time to look this, especially those of you who have experience, and make the changes, and Jessica and I will work together to get, and I see this document maybe taking 2 years as boards rotate through and people use it differently, but in the end, we'll have a working document that keeps us focused on what it is we're supposed to do, and we don't lose important stuff.
Right, good.
Because we're all volunteers. And so my attitude, if I don't have Post-it notes telling me what I need to do, then I get lost. This will
Okay,
be my
so-
Post-it note.
All right, so,
Anyway, that's,
so, let's see. You don't want us to have these pieces of paper in our packet each month?
No, you can have
I
them
would
as
say we would,
informational
yes.
items and report in your packet as
Right.
each month. I just don't want it as new business or unfinished business
yeah.
each month.
You were
Oh,
talking
okay,
about
you're right.
review, adding the review as such.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I like the idea of having it so that
But-
the whole thing, okay? Okay.
And so one of the things, and this would be really helpful for anybody who was the chair or anybody who was new, because you could say, okay, on the March 12th, we're supposed to review and discuss historic awards, promote the overlay, enhance understanding of heritage. Now, some of this we have to work on. I took literally everything and put it in one spot. That doesn't, it's like I did the guidelines, Iris, and I cut and paste, and now I'm reviewing it to make sure that the sentences actually make sense, and that Juneau is not mentioned in there, and every place it says Juneau, it says Seward. And that actually 2 sentences come together and actually make sense, that this isn't half a sentence. And so this is kind of in the same boat that the guidelines are. I took all the information I could find and I threw it on a page. Doesn't mean it's accurate, doesn't mean it really needs the group's review, maybe at the next work session, if you could review it, and we can work on the form, Jessica, but I really think we need to look at the content. I don't know, if the priorities make any kind of a timeline. Does that make sense?
Well, and Commissioner Ward, it's actually on the agenda for this meeting as well, so you have time to review and approve the reporting forms, or just review it. If you decide to review it, make some changes, and
Yeah.
keep going with it, we can do
I
that too.
But that to
I
me
would-
is the issue.
I would like to, when we get into our regular meeting, I would like to have us go ahead and approve and just begin working on it, because we know there's gonna be bugs, you know? And that
That's
way we
fine.
can have an organized, you know, way
Yeah.
where we're, you know, a point of reference, things been ready to write, keeping us on task, as you said. But let's move this over and make this
Write that on mine.
the review, okay, that Commissioner Dubois was talking about.
Benoit?
Benoit.
Benoit, gosh, why am I
Okay.
having trouble with your name? I am so sorry.
No problem.
Okay, what would you title it?
Accomplishments?
Well, that's on the
Outcomes.
reporting.
I always use the word outcome, but I have outcome up as a reporting item.
Yeah, but
Where's the
that's on the
thesaurus?
reporting.
Where's the thesaurus?
So,
We
but
need
that,
a
but
thesaurus.
on the reporting, that's like the final, right? Mm-hmm. Right?
That would be the
So-
year-end wrap-up.
So, what was the word you used?
I
No.
was thinking like, I was thinking of
accomplishment
reviewing
update.
Yeah, accomplishment updates and what needs to carry forward to the next meeting so nothing falls off the plate.
Right.
Okay. What do you want me to put here for that?
Update is fine. Update is fine. And I think the thing that I would probably need most guidance on is to take a look at those priorities and figure out what meeting they need to be at. I suspect a lot of them need to be in those first 3 or 4 meetings of the year so that we get them off and running.
Well, it seems like a key
Okay.
thing is some of these things, like how long do they actually take to do? And I have no idea. but
Right.
You might know.
Yeah.
How long does it take to
Tho-
figure out
they're
how to
pretty
do
much-
a proclamation?
Those priorities, aren't those priorities, for the most part, already in order? They're based on what the city sees and what previous boards have done in a timeline?
Yeah, what I did for them was I took last year's priorities, and that was our starting point back in November
That
when
would
I
be
brought
perfect,
it to
yeah.
you, and then you amended it, and then we brought it back in January, I believe,
Right.
at a meeting and amended it, and then we have the final product now. So it does take a couple of meetings and input from everyone.
So maybe we start that process a little
Okay,
bit
but
earlier.
that's-
And, because
so-
you get assignments early on in the next year. You want those things assigned to a particular commissioner. And whether you actually do the work or all the work yourself, but you're the person that's gonna make sure that it gets addressed. I mean,
That would be, something to look at in December.
Okay.
Making our priorities in December, doing our annual report, getting that ready in November so
Yeah.
that we can present that to the council in December. But work on the priorities because those are due in February.
and have commissioners indicate which priorities they're interested in.
Right. And see, those are due, right? Those are due in February. So if we work on them in December,
Okay.
we can approve them, vote and approve them in January, and then they're ready to go in, the time that they're due to council.
And then the other thing that I would just suggest is if we have priorities and nobody's interested in those priorities, why are they our priorities? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
Sometimes different parties or different entities have come in to a meeting and asked for this or that to be considered or a priority. So some of that stuff wasn't originally sponsored by a commission.
the commission, but I just see, when I see a priority is, my idea is to babysit it. I'm doing the historic overlay, which is a big project. But if Holben Park, for example, that somebody just needs to be able to follow it, take a responsibility for it, be able to report an outcome for it. Otherwise, why is it a priority?
Mary,
You know what I'm saying?
Benoit.
I don't want stuff floating around that
Okay.
nobody's looking at.
Commissioner Benoit.
So I'm thinking that question, why is it a priority? The answer should be because it's in the plan and it told us, these are actions, this is what we said we're gonna do, so we shouldn't have any question
Any
about
issue
So
with it.
those, that
our
would be, a-
priorities are, but my question is, if it is basically supposed to be a priority because it's in our plan, but we don't have anyone willing to take it on in this commission because of time or interest or something else, are we allowed to
Defer
put it
it.
out and say, hello, is there anyone in the community that would like to collaborate with us, like Rotary or anybody?
Yeah,
Would you
those
like
are
to help
options.
us?
Those are
So
options.
really, so if there is a priority and we don't have somebody willing to take it on as a commissioner, we could look for help.
We
Right.
could,
Okay.
but we can't formally assign that because we are approved as a commissioner by the city. So one of us still has to be
So
responsible.
we have to oversee it.
Yes.
Even if we're
Yeah.
not doing the. Okay.
Yes, okay?
But I also think that part of that, and I think all of that's good, part of that though is that we winnow out the ones we're actually doing, and I just want to make sure that it's just not paper that looks good and that people are reading it, but we're not actually doing anything. That's my big concern.
We have sent in the past letters to ask interest or information, just like DOT or the railroad, or individuals too, like with the radio house or stuff like that, to see if there's enough interest for either them to come in or give us more info. And the letters are just asking, I don't think they have to go by council or anything, they're just something we're authorized to do.
Yeah, but you're, right, but that's a report. That's not like taking on Hoban Park, for example, all right? You know, we just say, okay, yeah, Rotary, go ahead, do it. You know, one of us should still be responsible for making sure that it's being done
Being
and
the
maintained.
liaison with Rotary.
Yes,
But when
I
yes.
look at it as a liaison more
Yes.
We
than
start
anything else.
looking at what we're working on and what time we have, and then, well, are they really interested in what? Are we gonna spend on time on something that the public or that entity is interested in? And then we get some feedback, yeah, they're interested in, or they're not really.
I think that's
So
good.
then we can save time and put the time where the most interested.
Yes, the other thing is,
And you can.
if we're finding or come to the conclusion that we have many priorities or even one priority that is no longer relevant, we can change it, right? We can change that part of the plan, go before council, and,
I just have this real thing about our paper and our priorities reflecting what we're actually doing. And, you know, I've been looking at a lot of papers and I'm not really sure what any of it means. So in my mind, I put it all in one spot, let it shake out. And in the end, some things will go here, some things will be really focused on. And, you know, 2 years from now, we may be looking at totally different priorities because we've accomplished things.
I have a question for Jessica. I picked up on something you said when you were looking through the files. Has staff actually scanned in and got all the files online now?
We do have recordings from the meetings on Laserfish. We have packets on Laserfish. All of the work sessions and the meetings are live streamed on YouTube, and you can watch them after the meeting as well.
Wow, very good, thanks.
but there's not a place for us to go to and actually look at the minutes online or the packet online.
Legislative history on the city
Oh,
website.
we can?
Yeah,
Yes.
I have
Oh,
it all
okay,
up
okay,
for
great.
my-
I didn't realize that we were able to do that. Okay.
Yep, if you want me to
Yay!
show you how
And I think-
after the meeting, I will.
I think a lot of the stuff in the files at the library, which because, you know, I'm old fashioned, I went to the files, I didn't go online. But, there's a lot of good information in there that's probably needs to be looked at
Yeah,
some point.
Yeah, it does.
But I
We
can tell you
did
this was
that with
not
the
in
old
there.
site. We did that with the old site, and we decided that we weren't gonna do anything creative with it because the city was coming online with a new platform itself. So we figured we would just do our work there rather than
Well, maybe we should
recreate the
just-
wheel and spend money.
Just box it up, put it by year and have it available. But it just seems like I don't like information everywhere that I can't find it. I want it all on a piece of paper right here.
Okay,
Well, a few years ago, that was one of the goals, was to get that, all the files, boxes, when the libraries moved, and get it all kind of sorted and then scanned online, so easy to access.
Yeah, there's not a lot in that file, so part of that may have already been done. But Iris and I went through it, and I can tell you this was not there.
I just, in trying to get ready for this meeting, I wanted to find out some information about Hoban Park, and I was like, how can I find this out? Because I'm sure there's tons of notes out there somewhere. So Jessica directed me, I went online and scanned all the meeting minutes back to 2015. Just said, search Hoban Park, and I was able to pull up like everything, anytime it was mentioned, anywhere.
Really?
City council or
Good.
HPC meeting.
So that's
minutes.
really
Even
good.
In the
So-
last
and that's
2,
actually-
3 years?
And
Now, it can
went
be
back to, like,
finicky at times.
2006, and I'm
What?
like, I'm not going back
Yeah,
that
we
far.
don't
I said it can be finicky at times though, like if you put, I'm trying to think of the word, but if you put really any word that's very broad, then it's gonna pick it up in every single little spot and things that are very similar to it as well.
So you might get more information than you want.
Yeah, so you want to make sure that you have a very specific topic you're looking for and type that into the search bar on the website under legislative history.
Okay. All right.
So with
Commissioner Dubois.
Benoit.
Benoit. Benoit.
It's French, I think.
It is. But so would Benoit be French.
Beignet, that's Yoda.
Dubois. Commissioner Dubois.
Benoit.
Benoit. Oh my God. Is it okay?
Watch her think of a little
Ben
while.
Gay.
Yeah, think of Ben Gay, and it will come to you.
So I wanted to address you, Commissioner Benoit, because you had in here interest about the Hoban Park project and Rotaries perhaps being a part of that.
Yeah.
So I have taken that on for the last 2 summers, actually 2.5 summers. And from previous years of experience, Linda Lasota told me, and I don't know the names of flowers, they look like yellow daisies. But they're not. I mean, there's a specific name. And those are the, huh?
Marguerite?
No.
I think so. Nope,
is it
I
a
think so.
Marguerite?
The
Well,
tall
if
ones.
you look-
Yep, the tall ones.
If you look on this paper that was in the packet, this is like the results of all those minutes I talked about on Hoban Park, and there was something about a flower
Yeah,
that
'Cause
she
not
was
very
going
many
to
things
plant.
can-
yes. So,
Survive the wind.
so that, exactly. So that is,
Flowers
it is
or
because of the wind in that particular location that the Marguerite is the flower that we use. And so that's the main flower in the center. And then last year I added low, deep blue lobelia, which was really pretty.
It was pretty.
And it lasted all summer until a couple of windstorms. And then-
Lobelia's pretty tough.
Yeah, well, unless it's in the wind. So some other kind of low flower would be better, that, you know, didn't get whipped around. As far as, I don't know to what degree Rotary would want to take on, you know, helping us with this, but one of the things that would be helpful, because in the summer, I have to put a gallon of water in every planter. And we don't have a hose, so that requires me filling the gallon at home and then driving it over here and then watering them. And sometimes they even require more if it's been hot on some of our, you know, rare days. Yes.
I do have a message to pass along from our Parks and Recreation Director,
Yeah?
Tyler Florence.
Yeah?
He was going to try to attend tonight's meeting, but was not able to make it. He did say if any specific questions come up about Hoban Park and how Parks and Rec can help with it during the meeting, then let him know, and he'll help in any way that he can.
There you go.
Oh,
So
that would
what
be
we probably
wonderful.
So I was gonna say maybe let Mary Ann be the liaison there and talk to them.
Well,
So-
my whole goal with this was when before I even came on the commission, was out in, you know, the audience and heard you guys talking about planting, that there was a need, it was supposed to get done and hadn't gotten done. I wasn't sure anything about what that was, maybe
Yeah,
I
you know
just
what,
misunderstood, but.
yeah, I think we were probably talking about, we used to have lilacs, very beautiful lilacs, over on the corner that's by the Sea Life Center.
Yeah,
And when the
that's
Sea
what it
Life
was.
Center came in, they were supposed to replace those, but they never did. So that's probably what you heard.
I think that was it. And so my thought at the time was maybe Rotary could help, because Rotary is trying to do a service project every month, like we take either one of our lunch meetings where the whole group will go do something, or maybe on the weekends, and go and try to do some kind of service thing in the community. So I thought,
Woodland
Rotary
Park
has
would be
done
nice.
a bunch of things related to gardening, like planting at the cemetery memorial garden. We've done stuff in Mexico, community gardens, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
there- I'm not one of those people, but there's plenty of people that have a green
You
thumb
would
and know what
Right.
they're doing.
Right.
So I thought, oh, maybe that's something we could help with. So if there was plantings that needed to be done.
You want a single time, not an ongoing maintenance.
Well,
A
I
one-
mean, it's possible. The question is there a need? What are the needs and how could we maybe help? Because then I can I've already gotten a potential buy-off or support
Right,
from
right.
Nicole. And I can bring that back, present it to the group,
yeah.
make it happen.
Okay, so
Well, if they could
what's,
do a one-off
If-
thing.
if the
and
Rotary
that
says
park
yes,
I
could
just
do a
have to know.
maintenance thing.
so, well,
Present it to them.
the new information that we have tonight, which is new, just a sec, Fred, is that we've not had Parks and Rec help us
Interesting.
at all. So now we have, a director who's willing to help. Maybe what Rotary could do, which would be really, it'd be awesome, is plant a lilac tree and get us on the right path there. Because, that was our town park, our city park.
So just plant one lilac tree?
Well, yeah, I mean, you could do a bunch if you wanted. I don't know what your budget is,
Okay, so that was the other question, like if we were gonna do something, would we have to buy, like the lilacs
no-
or do we
Yes.
have a budget?
Yes, no, you don't have a budget.
We don't have a budget.
No, you don't have a budget.
So
Wolf.
basically, it would be
It's a work
purchasing
session,
the
right?
lilacs
Yes.
and plant.
Yes, please. Commissioner Wolkers.
Get a hold of Linda DeSoto, and she can really fill you in on a lot of these questions and what's been going on and how to do stuff. She's very good at how to do stuff in this town, like that.
Well,
So,
it sounds like to me,
what I
Well,
recommend.
it
yeah,
might
she
be
has the
nice to do a one-off, but then Park
She
and
has
Rec
the
is offered,
experience,
let them
but,
maintain it.
Sounds like they
we're the
need to
commission
water.
now, and I
Yeah,
do know,
water.
because she told me
there's
about
somebody
the
who could-
history with the Sea Life Center and the
Yeah,
lilacs.
Hasn't done it
So
before.
getting that
So they
going
need
would
to
be
let them
really
do it.
good.
I don't want
Yeah,
to
I know,
let
I
that
know,
opportunity
we're
go.
we're it, but she's got a lot of
Yes,
knowledge.
yeah, I don't disagree.
Yeah.
But, so I think there's an
And there,
opportunity.
one other thing, we were kind of keeping an eye on a historic, register or list of trees and shrubs
Yeah,
around the city,
yeah.
and I don't know, was that
Yeah,
still going?
Linda and Carol, backed off that.
Griswold?
Yeah.
Griswold, yeah.
Yeah,
I was
so,
kind of interested in that as well. I mean,
We took it off our priorities, I think.
my previous career was wildlife biologist, and so I do care about the historic plants.
do
I'm
you?
not a plant expert, it was more wildlife, but I think that's something important.
It is- no,
So
it's
I'm
not that it's
curious,
not
What are we
important.
doing with it?
It's that we lost the gal that was on our board, our commission, and then the partner that she worked with, both decided not to do that anymore. So it's not that it's not
So it's just
unimportant,
not-
and it's also not, it is one of our priorities.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been put to the back burner because we
See, so we
don't have
put it
time.
back on the list at some point, and put your name next to it.
Yeah,
Very-
but I think first we need to have somebody go through and read what our plan says with regard to the priorities. I think that's a great idea. Yes?
I can point you to some lilacs that are pre-earthquake that might or might not be on private property right now. They might be on the airport, but they
They've been
are
around.
quite old, and maybe they could be moved as a tree. And
They can be.
they bloom still quite, they're really pretty, but they're in the brush.
So that's really interesting, so that possibly you could find out if that's something, well, first I could talk to Rotary and say, okay, here's something, a need, is to maybe plant a lilac tree and provide the funding to purchase it, and then go plant this.
Yeah, you can move a tree,
And then-
and I can show them to you, and if you're interested, then go from there.
And then see if they're interested in doing that, even better solution than a new tree would be digging up
A historic old one.
historic one and actually moving it.
Without destroying it. And if it is on private property, you need to make sure that that's okay to do, because it's
Maybe
probably
Oh,
not.
yeah,
they'll
yeah,
donate it.
definitely.
If it's on
And even if it's on the airport property or railroad, it has to still get an okay.
Yeah, we can't go around.
But I think it's
Stealing.
doable.
The other,
So I love that idea.
yeah, I think,
There you go.
it'd be great if you would take that on, actually.
Okay.
And I would really encourage you to
Benoit.
talk to
Commissioner
Parks
Benoit.
and Rec.
And,
Well, it sounds like the most important thing from Parks and Rec is be the people that water.
Yeah,
all
and
the
they have
stuff,
not been
right?
involved, and we want to get them involved.
well, it sounds like he's already volunteered, so we don't want to
Yeah.
get them.
Yeah, we want to say yes.
Commissioner Benoit, Doreen Lorenz, Donna Walker's daughter, knows a lot about the history of the plants around town. So, you know, she knows some good ones too.
And
Yes, her daughter.
Donna's daughter?
Uh-huh. Yep, Doreen Lorenz. Okay, we have 5 minutes before we're done. So,
Did you want to have a discussion about the Facebook page? Before we
Yes.
get into the main meeting?
but,
The meeting's
yeah.
not
We
until
have, our meeting's
7:30.
at
No, wait.
7:30, right?
Oh, you're right.
got time.
Yes, we have lots of time. Okay,
So, before we move on, so we're just gonna have people review this, we're gonna approve this at the meeting, but we're gonna have people review it so that we can get it better aligned. This was my, if you look, just to catch you up real quick, 20, like
well,
page.
31 and then back
Yeah.
up to 28, 29, 30.
Yeah, this was my stab at, doing what I said at the last meeting, combining our priorities and our, coming up with a report, so
different
basically.
forms.
Yeah, it's just forms that will kind of keep us on track. And so, at this point, this was my best guess, and I kind of threw everything in a pot, and this is how it came out. So I think now, the forms, we'll approve the forms, but I think what we do is we can change the information within the form as we get better at this.
Right.
Okay? I just wanted
So,
both to
yeah,
be caught up.
so what I'm thinking though tonight,
We'll move
in the
this.
regular meeting, we can approve this, right? So we can begin using it. And
Right.
so any changes, then we'll just vote in next month.
And I do have some changes, so we can update that. I was gonna be in tomorrow to do some editing, so I can run that by you.
Or would it be better just to do the changes, because we're gonna vote it in next month anyway, and then vote it in? What do you think?
Well, you wanted to get it
Should we
done
vote
today.
in the form with our little changes here, and then it's done?
Well, you could, trying to think of how we can.
Or should we just be okay with this? You're gonna go and you're gonna do the editing, it comes back next month and we vote it in.
Either way, really. I mean, you can approve the reporting forms and then, I guess, direct Sue to continue working on them and bring back whatever she comes up with, or we come up with.
Well, but we've already decided what we're coming up with.
Yeah, but
We
I
did,
think-
right?
Yeah.
So-
I think the idea is to vote the formula, because I really see this as kind of an ongoing update.
Uh-huh.
So if we just say, we approve this, and recognize there may be some ongoing maintenance, then we'll just bring the maintenance to you, but we don't have to do anything else. Keep it
So,
clean and simple.
yeah, so I would like to vote it in, subject to agreed upon editing.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay, however you want to
And
do
that
it.
way we can just start using it next month.
Bingo.
Okay.
We just have to remember to do that again in the meeting. Actually voting
Yeah,
it in.
I know. The motion is
This
the
is the
meeting.
work session.
Okay, somebody remind me if I forget. Okay, Facebook.
Before Facebook, I just want to ask a question. Is there special things that need to be done as far as permission to go dig up a potentially dig up a historic lilac
That's
Well,
a tree.
it
You have to
depends.
find
And
out who owns the property.
start digging holes in Coben Park, which
Well,
is a
yeah, we have,
historic
yeah,
property?
that I believe we would have to go through the city on. And as far as
That'd be
digging up
good.
things, elsewhere, if, you need to, one, make sure it's not private property. Two, make sure it's not city property. Make sure it's not state property, okay?
Just go to Bell's.
And then, make sure it's not the borough property. So, and,
what other options are left?
Ducks Unlimited.
A
They got
native
property in
corporation.
there.
So basically, whoever's property it's on,
You
you
need
have
a-
to get
yeah.
permission.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because we're the hand of government. We're an extension of the council, so. But if you come by my office, I work for the borough, I've got a map that shows you who owns what. You know, as far as, you know, the state, the borough,
Right.
the University of Alaska,
Maybe
private.
Fred could look at that since he knows where it is to see who the owner is. So
Yeah,
we
he
know-
could handle that, right?
I'd
Commissioner
have to-
Wilkers?
I'd have to look at the borough overlay and find some kind of survey corner or something and take a long tape measure and make sure it's right close to a corner. And that's probably why it's still there. It was close to a railroad, airport, and private. And probably nobody messed it up because it was so close to all
Yeah.
three.
Nobody knew who owned it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't wanna,
Nobody
yeah, maybe that's what
got
happened.
saved. Okay.
But they're nice, big, old,
And
and
Yeah, they're
whoever
lovely, I
does
bet.
own it,
They've been
if they're
blooming
willing
for
to
years.
donate it, then they could be, you know, we could consider thanking them in some way
Putting up
for
a plaque.
promoting historic preservation and sewer.
I would just personally not want to do this if there was any risk to destroying that tree.
That's
If,
what
in
we're-
fact, it's that kind of
How
history.
big
there's
is
not.
this? How big is it?
You just have to get out to the root footprint, and you have to have a machine like a loader that can carefully push the roots in and ball it. And then you pick it up with a machine and put it on a truck and then take it off, and then manually get it spread out
Okay.
and compacted
So,
back in.
yeah,
It
we'll
can
have
be
to
done
see
if somebody
because
knows what they're doing.
Now that we're talking about heavy machinery
I think
to do this,
investigate it.
that
Just
sounds
investigate.
more
It
complicated.
costs
Well, yeah,
a
but
few
see,
$100
we,
to move
but
it,
we,
How much?
a few hundred.
Okay.
but we also have the city. City has its own
Yeah,
equipment.
So they could potentially help with
They could
this.
do the whole thing for just with city parks employees and city equipment, they could do
Yep.
what they wanted.
Yeah.
Okay.
So would you like to
Investigate.
talk about your Commissioner Benoit Facebook?
Yes, okay, so, you know, when I was reviewing the plan, it was obvious that public education, awareness, and community support of the plan is all important, including support of the plan, the events, and activities. It also is in our approved goals for this year to improve our online presence. So I was thinking that one way to make this happen could be through a Historic Preservation Commission Facebook page. And I currently administer, I don't know, like 8 different Facebook pages for my 2 businesses, for my dance classes, I administer for Rotary, and just like a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm really familiar with how to do that, and also with the power of how you can use social media to get the word out and build support about things, you know, things that you're doing. So I just wanted to say that I'd be willing to set up and administer a page if we would like to do that. And one of the reasons I was thinking about it is when I was reading through this plan, I kept thinking, oh my God, that is so cool. Wow, that is so cool. This is an amazing picture. And I thought, I've lived here 20 years. I didn't know anything about our history. I didn't even know there was a Historic Preservation Commission until I saw her presentation. And there's probably other people out there that don't know either. And once I started reading the plan, I thought, this is so interesting. And if you wanted to, with the Facebook page, you could take little bite-sized bits. It's like this little paragraph of the history in this picture, and kind of spoon-feed the history to people in the community so they get to understand what it's all about. Because most people are probably not going to go find this plan, pick it up and read the whole thing. But if you give them a little bit every day, or every couple days, you know, you can start to get the word across. Plus, I was thinking, another thing we could do with that is to highlight upcoming events and award nominations, meetings, things like that. And I think it could be a great way to build awareness of who this group is, what we do, why we're doing it, and also the value of historic preservation to the community and to tourism and businesses.
Heritage
I also
tourism.
thought it would be a great way to gather information too, because I think once you start putting things out there, little blurbs about history, about a place or a building or different things like that, and people are reading, they're gonna wanna jump on there and start telling their stories, like, oh, I remember when this happened, or I have this artifact or this thing, and it could be possibly helpful to us
Yeah.
for putting
Yeah,
together
I'm
our
thinking it-
list of
well,
properties and.
Yeah, well, not only that, but, you know, we're going to do these historic the plaques on various properties. So in your work, you could be grabbing some of that and have, and
Yes.
incorporate that, so then when it's time for us to produce those, it's already in the works or done.
Right, and I can see good.
And then that would make I think that would add community excitement, because they go, oh, maybe my house would,
Right. And I was thinking, I heard you mention at the city council meeting that Wolf was going to be helping with the city website, which I looked at real quickly, and I thought, you could easily collaborate some of the stuff that's on that. You go on the Facebook page. The thing that's different is the website is static, just like there. You look at it, but you can't say anything about it.
okay.
Facebook, you can have a conversation.
Yeah, okay, now wait. Are you looking at, she's gotta be looking at the old page, right?
I'm looking at the one that Jessica said she started setting up. It has a historic picture on it, and it was like starting to show, like history of certain sites.
Hold on. See if
I
I
thought
can
you
pull
guys
up.
Does
were
it have a
developing
brown,
something.
does it have a brown background?
I think so. Looks
Yeah,
like an old.
that's our old site. And we can't administer it, and the city went to a whole new platform, and Wolf has volunteered in the past that he would do that, and we're really excited, because
I can tell you're real excitable.
he's tired.
You look tired.
Well, in any case, some of the stuff that's in the old platform could easily be taken,
Yes.
copied, and put on a Facebook page to share. Cause a little bit I saw, I thought, oh, this looks cool.
Yeah, the only caveat I would add is that Valerie Kingsland is, a stickler. We have to make sure that, we can credit accurate photos, and accurate
very
history. And,
Well, it's not just her, there's property rights involved
yes,
for the different
yes,
collections.
yes.
And Colleen and Linda
So
are.
Well-
you'll find other people are sticklers.
Yeah, I was
Yes,
gonna
yes,
say Colleen and
yes.
Linda.
So for example, if there's already pictures in this plan, is it possible to just copy and put the blurb right out of the plan
Yes.
with the
You
picture
you
and
need
put
to
it
know
on
whose
Facebook?
picture, you need to know who owns that picture.
So even though it's already
Well,
a
it should be
public
in there.
document.
This is the historic plan.
Yeah,
that are owned.
but the point being is Linda and Colleen will be very helpful. All you have to do is ask.
Right.
Yes.
They're gonna be
exactly.
totally helpful, because I plan, when the guidelines are done, to do the same thing, because the Resurrection Bay Historic Society is a bottomless well of interesting and historic photos.
Well, yeah.
And they will be very happy to assist.
The other thing I was thinking is I saw something in the city council minutes, I guess, about, or maybe it was the last meeting for this group, about the Resurrection Bay Historical Society taking their fireside chats and converting them to digital. And so I thought, things like that, maybe we can collaborate with them. Like if they have a digital video or something, if we had a Facebook page, we could always put little excerpts of some of those things up, because I don't think
Yeah.
they have a Facebook page. I already looked online, couldn't find one, so
Yeah.
they might be happy to get some of their information out there.
Yeah. I think those are great ideas.
Anyway, so I thought it would be
Proposed.
cool, and if the commission likes it, I figured, okay, there's probably lots of regulation we'd have to go through for the
Do you-
city, but I looked at their social media policy,
Yeah,
and I don't
I-
think it really will be that bad.
Okay, but we would have to have it approved by the city, won't we?
Yes.
Okay.
According to their policy, it sounds like what we have to do is we have to get
have her
written permission
investigate and
from
make a proposal.
an MIS manager, whoever that is.
Our IT guys, Josh,
And then
George.
there's some kind of oversight that the city would be doing of it. So I just would have to find out who those people are.
And what
We'd
they
have
want.
to ask for, or to do this with written permission and
Yes.
find out, if they have any requirements for
Yes.
Let her investigate.
formatting
Yes.
or anything like that.
And then it still has to be approved by council,
Okay.
okay?
And Valerie Kingsland is your administrator, so she would probably be the one administering it, either her or I. And then as far as having comments available on it, I would have to talk to Brenda, because I thought that council had to shut off comments on a lot of their stuff too. I thought there's a lot of different Facebook pages and stuff that we cannot have public comments on anymore. So I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, that's probably good. What I would suggest is that
Well, that
we-
kind of defeats the purpose.
No, but what I would suggest at this point, we don't have a lot of information. I think if we could make a motion at the meeting to allow Mary Ann or Commissioner Benoit to investigate.
Yes.
And maybe liaison with Commissioner, Kurtz and come back
Administrator
with.
Kingsland.
Yeah, come back with
GIS.
a proposal, come back with information, and maybe we'll develop a future proposal. But right now, we don't have enough information to really decide. But I think it's a good idea, worth exploring.
So, yeah, and I'd love to see all this,
And you have an interest
many
in
of the things
that.
on the plan and the photographs and the collections that are in the library. I'd like to see them be public facing. Right now,
And
they're.
I have, Linda Lasota and Colleen Kelly, I think would probably be real behind that.
So I know, I believe it was last meeting, I'm a little hazy on the details, but I think Jim Pfeifenberger was gonna convert the Fireside to the video conversion,
Yeah.
to digital. But that was for their library, their cataloging, for preserving them, internally. So it was a matter, taking that next step further and putting them on YouTube. I proposed that.
Yes, you
but
did.
I don't know, that would be something.
I think that's all part of
Yeah,
it.
we
Yeah.
haven't, we
A
haven't
social
heard back
media
on
thing.
that.
The Resurrection Bay Historical Society would have to,
Yes.
yes.
And we both attend their meetings, I mean, both of us attend their meetings, so we'd work that angle.
Okay, yeah, that's great.
Okay. All right, so are you,
So it sounds like my impression is you guys are supportive and would like to do that.
Yep.
And
We'll
the
make
next
a
step
motion
is get
during-
some more information, get more detailed information.
Marion, what we'll
Right
do
back.
at the official meetings, we'll make a motion, and it'll be seconded, and we'll vote on it to allow you and Wolf to do that.
okay. Oh, are you, okay.
That's how it works. What we do here, then we make it official at the official meeting.
Gotcha.
Because, and I think it's a really good idea. I think a lot to be said for what's going online.
But you're just not gonna reach people and educate them and engage them unless you get it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a threshold, that you meet fairly quickly, in terms of people who are gonna go seek this stuff out.
And I think you get younger
At the
people.
library.
Right.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You get
Well,
young
for
people.
those that even go to the library, a lot of people don't even go to the
So
library.
cross into that wider arena.
And younger
you need to
people,
get
I'd
online.
like to see young people just see the purpose of all this.
Another idea I had was if we started doing that, maybe we could collaborate a radio station and do some little history blurbs, like weekly history notes or something.
That would be tremendous.
Yep.
Yeah,
Like we could take
Mary-
whatever the topic is for
Yep.
Facebook, that's the topic we're talking about that week, and then do a history note in the radio.
There's some new activity in that area. Mary Tugas and Nancy Erickson are interviewing local, I don't know what to call them, personalities, but local people with some knowledge of the community and a history here, persons of significance. So that just kind of is gathering momentum as,
Slides right in.
lately, so.
Have you
It
guys
just-
done Margaret Anderson or?
The first,
Or-
I know Bev Dunham was, Mary Tugas was talking with, I recorded
Yeah,
that
yeah.
session. And I'm not sure if Margaret has been approached yet, but there was another one, Mary
She's a-
Bryan, I think. They're all the people we know, but
that just gave me a thought, like,
We'd love to
you
get them
know,
on tape.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I just started, became a member of the Resurrection Bay Historical Society, and of course, they have speakers every month. And I know next month it was
Sue
Sue
McClure-
McClure's gonna talk
McClure's
about
gonna
her
talk about-
earthquake
yeah,
story. So
earthquake stuff.
I don't know whether they record that, but they're already having speakers telling their stories about history. So maybe those things could be recorded, and then they could,
So there's
Somehow
quite,
be-
there's quite a collection of local recordings that were done. It's quite, most of them were close to 10 years ago, and some of them were older than that UAF did. They went through, at least in a couple different waves, and recorded 87 and then again in 2010, 11, somewhere in that range. They recorded a lot of folks with history of the area on their Project Jukebox, which is the UAF Project Jukebox. I play those on the air. But for the mushing, for the Iditarod, I've been playing them for the last week or more. They have a section. in
I
there.
think it's a great collaboration, though.
Yeah.
That's a great, again, get the education out there, people listening.
Yeah. So,
Facebook,
so there's
radio.
already, there's a pretty significant catalog out there already. And then Sue and her mother,
What?
Levan Santa.
Santa, yeah, there you go.
They haven't been shy about getting on the microphone either, so they're probably, those two are probably some of the more recorded voices you have around here. We'd like to,
Sue McClure's mom is
we'd
just
like
a
to
hoot.
tease some of the other ones out. you
Yeah.
know? Maybe even Fred. Fred knows a few
Fred.
things.
He's looking away.
I wish I had more John French on tape.
anyway,
Yeah.
the
That-
possibilities are
Are?
pretty much endless. We
Yes,
just
they
have
are.
to get it out there and get people excited about it.
And it's in our priorities, and so it's time to start working on it.
Do you ever look
So-
at the Jackie Sewell, Lascanelli's site tape?
No.
that
All
out on
that
it?
stuff's still sitting out there also, yeah.
It's never been looked at yet.
No.
It's still on the to-do list.
Yeah.
Let me see, what was I gonna ask? I think it was you. What was I gonna ask you? Oh, I don't know.
My mind reading needs
I need to post a
to
note.
be updated. I'm not up to your version
I'm not firing, apparently. Zip!
It'll come to you.
Oh, I know what I was gonna ask. So if for some reason we're blocked on Facebook, or we can't generate, we're not free enough to actually utilize it for creating the interest, or we're blocked on doing YouTube, could you, on the city site, on our new history site, would there be a way that we could, show these bits of history or play them?
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, there's plenty of examples of how to do that on there. Like the jukebox, the Project Jukebox I was talking about with the video and the audio out there. There's a number of different ways you can do that, yeah. It's not a hard,
So is there,
not a hard goal to attain. Takes
so
some
do
organization.
we have any that have already been approved by the council?
It's what? Social media?
The audios, the stories.
Well, I don't think the council will have to go through an item, we won't have to provide them with a list of things to get approved. We're just gonna have to have a policy. We have to follow the policy. Yeah, I don't think they're.
Okay,
I don't think
great.
they're gonna approve every single, they're not looking for that kind of, that close of oversight.
Okay,
granular
well, I would like to see that
oversight.
on our history site as well.
We just have to know what the policy is and follow it, and if we want exceptions to that, then we're gonna have to
It's in the packet.
ask for them.
Social media policy
Yes.
basically is like get permission in writing. There's somebody in one of the areas of the city that kind of like generally oversees what's happening. And that's really all it says. I saw examples of some of the other sites that are under the city umbrella. They all kind of look like the same formatting, so I'm guessing they would like that, it to look kind of like the other ones. But it's not, as far as I understand, officially a city. It's not a city website. It's our
We-
Facebook page. It's,
I know it's not a Facebook page, but the city does have a website, and we have, each of the commissions have their own little tab.
But, and if
Right,
and if
but
there
ours
was a
has not been
Facebook
updated,
page for
correct?
this commission, then
Right,
that
that's what I'm
becomes-
talking
It
about.
hasn't been,
The
we're
social
not
media
using the new.
policy
Right.
talks about what you have to do a Facebook page.
Yeah, if you want to get beyond the kind of the paint by numbers level that the city website is going to stay at. They're looking for something that's for ease of maintenance and, uniform appearance and, so if you want to do something that looks different, you're going to have to go to a separate website. I suggest that if that's an interest, that you follow that up with the Historic Society.
Well, we're only talking about a Facebook page here, not a website.
Yeah, never mind that, I interjected that.
Well, the
We
website's
don't wanna go through
issue-
that.
Yeah, yeah. I heard website in there somewhere. I'm like,
Yeah.
That was me.
yeah.
So we're talking Facebook page.
Yeah, that's good. I already have a couple websites and I got plenty to do with them, so I'm not volunteering to do a website.
Well, we don't wanna have to
Facebook's okay.
invest, the money that it would require to create the website. So, and it would still have to be approved. So that's silly.
What I was saying is if you want to do something like that, it's better. The structures aren't really there in
Right,
the
no, I
approval
understand.
process to handle that kind of thing.
Yes, I
So
understand.
You want to.
So Facebook page is different.
Or go with an independent organization like the the Preservation Society and Resurrection Day Historic Society and build their website out. If
It's
you want
pretty
something.
limited though, I'm going on it. I think it's a fair.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's a
not-
discussion that we had there. I think there's more room, it's more latitude there to do different things than
Right,
there is
and,
with the city
yeah,
website.
but it's pretty
So,
basic, so, if you look at their
City,
website.
the city website's there to form and function. There's, it's very specific, pretty narrow things to get done there. So if you want to do something artistic, you're gonna have to.
Well, Facebook is free and Facebook is simple. And
Yeah.
Go look at
So
me.
it's the only sticky wicket I can see
It's
there is
easy
the
to do.
comment side of things, which can.
Yeah, and so that
Pretty
is
bad.
something, that's something to consider, and, we've had that on Rotary before too, where, people can comment, but if you end up with somebody commenting on things that are not really appropriate to comment there on that site, we basically hidden those comments. So there's different things you can do,
Which is moderation, which
Right.
somebody has
So
to do
somebody
that.
has to be
Or
looking
have to
at it.
watch it.
or you turn your comments off, or you could potentially turn, I'm not sure if you can
Is that-
turn comments on for a certain subject if you want comments from people about something.
You can turn
Jessica,
them on.
is that what you were talking about with the city's Facebook? That they have those off and that's what they require?
I believe so. I'm
Okay.
gonna double check on that, but I
Okay,
believe so.
So that would be a question is like, does that mean that applies to any commission under the city or?
It
and to
would then, yes.
everybody?
I think it would, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because you are an extension of the city council.
So, we could always say things like if you have a page and the comments are turned off, but people are allowed to message you through the page. If you have any information about this particular thing, we'd love to hear about it. Send us a message. So we could still get some input in that way.
Just limited.
Yes, we could?
I think so.
Okay. Cool.
Well, and there's comments and then there's the messaging. I mean, you could receive messages on your Facebook page that are not public. They send them to you.
Right. That's what we were talking
You
about.
being the admins and people privileged to that level to see those.
But then again, there's also the point of they could just send it through our office if they have something to say, and then it goes out to the whole commission as well. If only one person's monitoring Facebook, then that would be the easier way to get the message out to everyone. It's
You
just
could
have
make
them email it.
you could make every person on this commission administrators in the Facebook page so everyone could see it. Does
Does that work?
Yeah, it doesn't
I don't
have
know.
to just be
No,
one person.
I'm asking Jessica.
I don't know if it would, that might violate the Open Meetings Act.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because you can't have more than 3.
Can't have more
That's a
than four.
violation of Robert's rules.
But we're not making a decision, I'm just
No,
saying
you can, no,
administrator
yeah, we can't.
would be, so you just see things
Yeah,
that are
we can't.
posted or a message that comes in.
No, we can't.
I'm gonna need to take a break.
Okay, that sounds good. I think I do too. Yeah, okay.
Well, thanks for considering this.
Yeah,
Bring
a
'em.
great idea. Thank you for
We'll
your
make a motion
willingness
and
to
Make a motion at the meeting.
move forward on it. Are we okay to take a break? Okay. We're gonna call the work session to an end at 7:23 on March 12th, 2020.